Across the vast expanse of human history from the dawn of civilization to the complexities of the modern era, a singular, deeply ingrained desire has persisted within the human psyche: the yearning for control over the unpredictable tides of fate. This profound longing often manifests as a fervent belief in the existence of objects, incantations, or intricate procedures capable of bestowing good fortune, attracting love, bolstering strength, or offering impenetrable protection against unseen threats. This fundamental human inclination, the conviction that certain items or actions can ward off evil or bring about desired outcomes, is known as apotropaic thought. It is a concept woven into the very fabric of our collective consciousness, a testament to our enduring hope for safeguards beyond the physical realm. For millennia, humanity has sought these tangible anchors to the ethereal, these touchstones of security and confidence. Evidence of this ancient practice can be unearthed in the earliest archaeological strata. Minuscule amulets have been meticulously excavated from ancient Egyptian sites, while even further back in time, in the venerable city-states of Mesopotamia, such as Babylon, elaborate procedures and intricate conjurations were meticulously performed, not merely for prosperity, but specifically to protect individuals and communities, to avert catastrophe, and to banish misfortune. Even in our ostensibly enlightened contemporary world, these deeply rooted beliefs continue to thrive, albeit often in modernized, sometimes unsettling, forms. The underlying conviction remains. There exist supernatural forces, powers beyond the tangible, that can be harnessed or appeased for our safeguarding and benefit. Tonight, we journey into the shadows of these beliefs, exploring narratives that are not only profoundly strange but often disquietingly macabre, tales that resonate with the chilling echoes of humanity's ceaseless quest for the supernatural. Our first foray into this peculiar landscape begins in the year 2016, with a news story that captivated international attention due to its sheer strangeness. The report centered on a Thai airline, Smile Thai, which had introduced an extraordinary service: specialized tickets for dolls. This was not merely the casual allowance of a child carrying their beloved toy onto a flight. Rather, these were specifically designated seats, complete with their own boarding passes for these unique companions. The airline's offering extended beyond just a seat, encompassing bespoke attention, specially curated snacks or candies, and even beverages tailored for the dolls, alongside other special courtesies. This unprecedented service naturally ignited a firestorm of controversy and public outcry, reaching such a fever pitch that the aviation authorities of Thailand were compelled to intervene. They swiftly moved to dismantle this peculiar practice, issuing a directive that explicitly stated a doll could not be charged a passenger fare. Instead, if a doll exceeded personal carry-on dimensions or could not comfortably fit in a passenger's lap, it would be treated as cargo, incurring standard cargo fees, or simply placed in overhead luggage if appropriately sized. There would be no more special seats for these inanimate companions. The airline, facing regulatory pressure, had no choice but to comply. They subsequently advised passengers wishing to travel with their dolls to purchase a regular ticket for the doll, treating it as one would a valuable musical instrument like a cello, which often occupies its own seat to avoid being stored in the cargo hold. While the initial news was undeniably bizarre, the true depth of its strangeness lay in the profound cultural beliefs underpinning this phenomenon. Thailand, a nation steeped in ancient traditions and a rich tapestry of spiritual folklore, provides fertile ground for the fusion of age-old convictions with contemporary expressions. Even today, years after the initial incident in 2016, the fascination and controversy surrounding these dolls continue to ripple through Thai society. This intense fervor centers around a distinct category of dolls that have gained immense popularity, particularly in the 21st century. These are the Look Tep, which translates to child angels or heavenly children. They are not mere playthings. They are typically realistic, life-size dolls, often measuring between 50 to 60 centimeters in height, meticulously crafted to resemble human infants or young children. Both male and female versions exist, but their defining characteristic is their strikingly lifelike appearance. Many of these dolls are not mass-produced local toys. They are often imported, carefully selected for their special qualities and unique aesthetics, distinguishing them from ordinary supermarket purchases. The core belief surrounding a Look Tep doll is that it is imbued with the spirit or soul of a non-living child, often one that was stillborn or miscarried. This spiritual inhabitation is believed to bestow upon the doll the power to bring immense good luck, prosperity, and potent protection to its owner. It is a truly extraordinary phenomenon, considering its prevalence in an era defined by scientific advancement. Yet, it is not uncommon to witness individuals, men, women, or entire families, treating their Look Tep dolls with the same profound care and devotion one would accord a living child. Sights of owners pushing supermarket trolleys, with a Look Tep doll nestled comfortably where a baby would typically sit, are not rare. These dolls are lavished with special clothing, with entire boutiques dedicated to their fashion. They are adorned with genuine jewelry, not mere costume trinkets but precious metals and gemstones. Within the home, a Look Tep is given a place of honor. During mealtimes, it is seated at the family table, its own plate meticulously laid before it. After the meal, the food on this plate, believed to have had its essence consumed by the doll's spirit, is never touched by human hands and is ritually discarded. The doll itself, being solid and inanimate, does not physically eat or excrete. The communion is purely spiritual. Beyond meals, Look Tep dolls are often given their own special rooms, adorned with beautiful objects and sweet treats. The financial commitment required for these dolls is substantial. Prices can range from a modest $50 to an astonishing $2,000 for particularly elaborate or specially blessed examples. This is a considerable investment, especially for the typical demographic of Look Tep owners, predominantly middle-aged women from the middle class. These dolls are decidedly not children's toys. The relationship with a Look Tep is deeply personal and immersive. Owners frequently converse with their dolls, sharing their thoughts and daily experiences. At bedtime, the doll is tenderly put to sleep, tucked under blankets, and spoken to as one would a child. Some owners even go to the extent of changing the doll's attire for day and night. Meticulous care is taken in cleaning and maintaining the doll, treating it as if it were a growing infant requiring constant nurturing and guidance. The central promise of a Look Tep is the unwavering belief in its ability to attract good fortune and shield its owner from harm. However, the intensity of this belief reached such a peak in 2016 that, beyond the airline restrictions, the then Thai Prime Minister felt compelled to issue a public plea for rationality. He urged citizens to avoid financial folly, cautioning them against spending their meager savings or incurring crippling debt to acquire these dolls. Yet, the phenomenon has endured. Today, one can still encounter restaurants displaying signs that explicitly state, "Look Tep Dolls Welcome." These establishments offer specialized menus, not just for one or two dolls, but as a dedicated service, creating an inclusive environment where owners can dine comfortably without fear of judgment or ridicule. In contrast, many conventional restaurants, wary of the potential discomfort or mockery from other patrons, or simply unequipped to handle such requests, have restricted entry for doll owners. While a child with a small toy might be tolerated, a couple arriving with a doll in a pram would likely be denied entry. This societal divide underscores the depth of the belief. But what truly constitutes a Look Tep? Can any doll from a supermarket dressed up and cherished serve the same purpose? The answer, unequivocally, is no. A true Look Tep doll must undergo a specific sacred ritual, a Buddhist blessing known as pluk. While the exact details of such ceremonies are often kept private, it is understood to involve prayers, chants, the rhythmic beating of drums, and the shaking of rattles, all intended to release the spirit from its earthly vessel, allowing it to continue its journey into the afterlife. The contrast with Western notions of haunted dolls, like Annabelle, where a demonic entity is believed to be attached, is striking. Here, it is the spirit of an innocent, unborn child, yet the consequences of disrespect can be equally terrifying. This deep dive into the world of Look Tep dolls reveals a fascinating, albeit unsettling, intersection of ancient spiritualism and modern daily life. Moving beyond the unique practices of Thailand, we now turn our attention to the vibrant archipelago of the Philippines, a land rich in diverse spiritual traditions and a deeply ingrained belief in the power of amulets known as anting-anting or ajimat. These are not standardized objects. Rather, they manifest in an astonishing array of forms, each carefully chosen and imbued with specific intent. An anting. Anting might be a delicate pendant, a weighty charm worn around the neck, an edible substance consumed for its protective properties, a liquid potion to be drunk, or even a simple patch of cloth or a written inscription sewn discreetly into clothing. Some take the form of small wooden tablets, meticulously carved with symbols and placed within footwear, particularly sandals, a common choice in the region's tropical climate. The purpose of these diverse amulets is consistently the same: to instill confidence, bestow power, and offer an impenetrable shield of protection to the wearer. The history of the anting-anting is replete with compelling narratives, passed down through generations. One such legend, widely recounted since the 19th century, tells the tale of Manuelito, a fearsome bandit also known as the Tulisan. Manuelito was a notorious outlaw, his reign of terror spanning villages and coastal waters, where he brazenly robbed ships arriving in port and committed acts of violence, striking fear into the hearts of many. When the Guardia Civil, the colonial police force, was dispatched to apprehend him, it is said that Manuelito would be shot upwards of 20 times, yet remain completely unharmed. He would simply turn and walk away, seemingly impervious to bullets. Tales even circulated of Manuelito during local fairs, challenging his gang members to shoot him for sport, demonstrating his invulnerability to the astonished crowds. While some spectators might have speculated that the guns were loaded with blanks, the deadly reality of encounters with the Guardia Civil left no doubt. Bullets were real, and others around Manuelito fell lifeless, yet he remained untouched. His perceived invincibility escalated the desperation of the authorities. Ultimately, a specialized and feared unit known as the macabres was deployed. These were formidable warriors, renowned for their ferocity and their deep knowledge of both combat and indigenous magic. They had a history of fighting on multiple sides, often proving more ruthless than the local guerrillas during the revolutions against Spanish and American rule. One day, spotting the approaching macabres, Manuelito strategically positioned himself on a mountainous hill, digging a trench for cover. What followed was a brutal engagement. The macabres, a terrifying horde, unleashed a volley of gunfire, systematically eliminating Manuelito's men. Manuelito himself continued to fire until the macabres, with an almost supernatural speed, broke from their cover and charged, knives in hand, quickly dispatching the remaining bandits. The villagers and officials were aghast. How could Manuelito the Invincible be dead? Upon examining his body, the astonishing truth was revealed. The anting-anting, his amulet of protection, worn close to his chest, had been pierced by a silver bullet. The macabres, privy to ancient knowledge, understood the specific vulnerability of Manuelito's charm. This legend, whether fact or folklore, powerfully illustrates the profound belief in the anting-anting's protective capabilities and its specific weaknesses. The influence of the anting-anting extends even to the highest echelons of power. Consider the figure of Ferdinand Marcos, the formidable and often tyrannical dictator who ruled the Philippines from 1965 to 1986. Marcos, a veteran of World War II, a survivor of intense combat, ascended to power and maintained an iron grip, seemingly immune to political challenges until his eventual downfall in 1986, shortly before his death in exile in 1989. It was widely whispered that Marcos's extraordinary success and perceived invincibility stemmed from a personal anting-anting. This particular amulet, said to have been crafted by an ancient sorcerer in 1942, before his wartime deployment, reportedly granted him invisibility. With this supernatural gift, he allegedly navigated the perils of war unscathed, overcame numerous assassination attempts, and even gained the ability to overhear his adversaries' secret conversations without their knowledge. The true secret of his power, it was believed, lay in a tiny splinter of wood, prepared by the sorcerer and surgically implanted somewhere in his body, providing him with an unparalleled shield. His eventual downfall, according to popular belief, occurred because someone discovered the specific counter-ritual to neutralize his agimat. The legend suggests that during a critical surgical intervention, the splinter was located and removed, leading to his swift dethronement and subsequent death. Such tales, though fantastical, highlight the deep cultural reverence for these powerful charms. In the Philippines, anting-anting amulets are meticulously prepared for an astonishing array of purposes. An agimat can be created not only for protection, but also for malefic intent. For instance, kulam is a specific form of agimat designed to inflict harm, misfortune, or illness upon an individual. If one wishes for an adversary to suffer failure, sadness, or sickness, a kulam can be discreetly applied to their clothing, believed to drain their energy and bring them low. Conversely, other agimats are tailored for positive outcomes, attracting success, ensuring good fortune, or providing specific defenses. The kunat protects against edged weapons like knives and swords, rendering the wearer impervious to cuts. The tagaliwas is a bullet-deflecting charm designed to prevent projectiles from penetrating the body, and the tagabulache bestows the coveted power of invisibility. While their purposes vary, the underlying principles of their creation involve distinct, often unsettling, rituals. The preparation of these potent amulets, particularly those involving the most powerful forms of protection, often delves into the truly macabre. In regions where Catholicism is prevalent, these rituals are frequently performed during Holy Week, specifically on Holy Wednesday. The sorcerer, or albulario, entrusted with this sacred and dark task, journeys to a cemetery. There, they may exhume the body of a non-nasciturus, an unborn child or fetus, sometimes even acquired through the black market. This tiny body is then subjected to a unique process. It is gently roasted over a controlled fire without being consumed, allowing it to release a viscous liquid known as cadaver oil. This chilling substance forms the base for many preparations, anointing the amulets or splinters of wood. Alternatively, a splinter from the wood used to cremate a deceased person can be similarly imbued with power. Regardless of the specific method, the ritual is inherently linked to death, imbuing the anting-anting with the potent life force of the deceased, particularly if it is believed to be a child, which is the very thought of it sends a palpable shiver down one's spine. This dark charm is known as Kumantong, a name that translates evocatively as golden child. It is revered as a potent amulet for protection and good fortune, but also, disturbingly, for attracting love. The process of creating a kumantong is both bizarre and profoundly disturbing. It begins not with a spontaneous miscarriage, but with the deliberate extraction of the fetus. During this premature birth, a specific magical ritual must be performed to ensure that the infant's spirit does not depart, but rather remains tethered to its physical form. Immediately following this, the tiny fetus is transported to a designated site where it undergoes a controlled heating process, a form of partial drying by fire, carefully executed so as not to destroy the delicate remains. Once partially desiccated, a series of sacred oils are applied, accompanied by new prayers and intricate rites, A lacquer-like substance is then used to create a smooth surface, and finally, the entire form is meticulously enveloped in a thin sheet of gold leaf. These Kumantong amulets are then sold, often at astonishing prices that vary greatly depending on the global market. While the practice is now strictly prohibited in Thailand, Cambodia, and the Philippines, deemed a criminal offense, the illegal trafficking persists, particularly finding a market in regions of Chinese origin where these beliefs are still held. The fundamental purpose of the Kumantong is to bind an ancestral spirit to this small, gilded effigy, ensuring that it accompanies its owner, offering steadfast protection and safeguarding the home, particularly from the intrusion of malevolent spirits. Much like the Look Tep dolls, the Kumantong is believed to provide immense spiritual welfare and security. However, this powerful protection comes with stringent responsibilities. The Kumantong must be meticulously cared for. Typically, it is housed in a protected display case or a small glass box. Each night, a tiny cup of milk or a sweet beverage is offered, and soft, soothing music may be played to keep the spirit content. On specific dates, offerings of rice and pork are presented. But there are critical rules that govern the relationship with a Kumantong. First and foremost, it must be treated with utmost respect and kindness, for any mistreatment is believed to provoke the spirit, leading it to seek vengeance against its owner. Secondly, if an owner can no longer keep the Kumantong, or if it begins to cause problems, it cannot simply be discarded. A complex ritual of disposal must be performed at a sacred site, otherwise the spirit is believed to return, bringing ruin upon the former owner. And perhaps the most chilling warning of all, if Look Tep dolls can cause minor disturbances when children are present, a Kumantong poses an enormous danger to living children in the home. This purported spirit is believed to be capable of physically harming a child, disturbing their sleep, causing illness, and draining their vital energy. Consequently, one of the most emphatic recommendations is to never keep a Kumantong in a household where children reside. Such malevolent capabilities paint a picture not of a benevolent guardian, but of a dark entity. The belief is that the owner has, in essence, invited a dark spirit into their home, and if a child is present, that spirit will inevitably target them. Yet the macabre extent of these practices does not end there. During the ritual, where the body's fat is extracted, a viscous substance is obtained. This vile fluid, known as lust medicine, is also sold at exorbitant prices for mere drops. Those who prepare it claim it can cure impotence and overcome indifference in others, a truly dark application of these gruesome rituals. Evidence of this illicit trade is not confined to the 2012 capture. In the 1990s, a temple known for performing these rites was shut down. In 2016, another incident revealed a nurse in a clandestine clinic preserving and selling the products of abortions. Today, the Kumantong trade is highly prescribed. Individuals who possess one must keep its existence a secret from authorities, as its discovery constitutes a serious crime. And beyond the legal ramifications, there is the ever-present risk that when this entity, this purported demon, fully manifests its power, its owners may find themselves utterly helpless to control it. While some practitioners claim the Kumantong whispers secrets of success, lottery numbers, and future events, leading to a false sense of benevolent guidance, the inherent darkness of its origins in the paranormal realm suggests a far more sinister truth. Our exploration now shifts to the distant shores of New Zealand, and a story from 2013 that captured international attention. A museum in England began the solemn process of repatriating a unique and deeply significant collection of artifacts back to their ancestral home. This collection consisted of tattooed Maori heads, known as Toi Moko, which were being returned to New Zealand with official apologies and all expenses paid, carefully encased in hermetically sealed containers, removed from public display. These were not mere artistic representations. They were human heads, meticulously preserved and adorned with the intricate, swirling patterns of Maori facial tattoos. The history of the Toi Moko is both fascinating and tragic. Prior to the arrival of European settlers, the Maori people, indigenous to New Zealand, lived in a complex societal structure, often engaging in inter-tribal warfare. Within these communities, great warriors, revered chiefs, and individuals of exceptional merit were distinguished by their facial tattoos, known as Moko. These permanent designs were etched onto the skin using bone chisels and a distinctive pigment, creating unique and deeply personal patterns. Each Moko was a living biography, revealing the wearer's lineage, tribal affiliation, social status, accomplishments, and personal narrative. No two Moko were identical. They were as unique as fingerprints, a visual testament to an individual's journey and standing within their society. While predominantly applied to men, women also bore facial Moko, albeit often in different patterns, signifying their own achievements or contributions to the community. The Moko was a powerful symbol of identity, recognition, and societal belonging, and was also believed to possess apotropaic qualities, offering spiritual protection to the wearer. The practice surrounding these Moko, however, took a macabre turn upon an individual's death. If a person of significant standing passed away, their head would be carefully severed and subjected to an elaborate preservation process. This mummification involved extracting the brain and eyes, stitching the orifices, and then meticulously drying the head. The process was multifaceted. The head would be smoked over a fire, exposed to the sun, treated with shark oil, and finally coated with a protective layer to prevent cracking. Once fully preserved, retaining the original skull and features, the Toi Moko was considered an extremely valuable and sacred artifact. If the head belonged to a respected member of the community, it would be reverently kept within the family home, honored with rituals, and treated with profound respect, believed to house the enduring spirit of the deceased. However, Toi Moko could also be acquired from adversaries. If an enemy warrior fell in battle, their head would similarly be prepared. But instead of receiving honor, it would become an object of derision and mockery, placed on the ground, perhaps even used by children as a plaything, a stark symbol of triumph over a defeated foe. Yet, even in degradation, its value remained. These enemy Toi Moko could later become valuable commodities in intertribal negotiations. If an opposing tribe possessed the head of one's own fallen warrior, an exchange could be brokered. Return the head of my warrior, and I will return yours. Upon its repatriation, the enemy's head would then be restored to its family and given a place of honor. This practice, undeniably harsh by modern standards, was deeply rooted in the belief that the spirit of the warrior remained attached to the head, offering protection and power, thus demanding meticulous care and respect. Not all heads were preserved. Only those of high status or significant accomplishment were deemed worthy of becoming Toi Moko. The arrival of European explorers and traders, however, irrevocably altered this sacred practice, transforming the revered Toi Moko into an exotic commodity. The first recorded instance of a Toi Moko reaching England was brought by an explorer from Captain Cook's era, who acquired it in exchange for a pair of cotton underwear, long johns. The head, belonging to a 14-year-old boy who died in a skirmish, held little inherent. Thousands of these heads found their way into European collections, over 1,000 in England alone, with others reaching France, Germany, and even potentially America. They were displayed in museums as macabre curiosities, often presented without dignity or respect, simply as ethnographic oddities. When the practice was eventually outlawed, and the Maori themselves abandoned the Moko ritual due to its exploitation, the trade ceased, but the heads remained in museums and private collections. It is in the 21st century that a powerful movement for repatriation has gained momentum. Driven by the enduring Maori belief that the spirit of the individual remains bound to their head, even that of a humble slave, these efforts seek to return the Toi Moko to their ancestral lands for proper burial and ceremonial release. The sight of a revered ancestor's head gathering dust in a distant museum cabinet is seen as a profound indignity and a source of spiritual suffering for the displaced spirit. The movement continues to actively search, locate, and petition for the return of these heads, recognizing the personhood and family connections behind each one. Repatriation is not merely about historical justice. It is about restoring peace, tranquility, and protection to the ancestral homes, ensuring the spirits can finally rest. The implications of these beliefs are profound. What spiritual unrest might these scattered heads still be causing, and what peace might their return finally bring? Our journey into the extraordinary world of apotropaic objects now descends into the dense, verdant heart of the Amazon rainforest, where the Shuar people residing between present-day Peru and Ecuador have maintained their unique culture and fierce independence for centuries. It is crucial to note that the term Jibaro, often used to refer to them, is considered pejorative and offensive. Their true and rightful name is Shuar. This proud and unyielding community stands as one of the few indigenous American peoples who successfully resisted conquest by both the Inca Empire and, later, the Spanish conquistadors. Their mastery of the complex, challenging jungle environment is legendary. They move through the thick undergrowth with an almost ethereal subtlety, like phantoms in the mist, formidable warriors whose skills are honed by generations of survival. Today, with a population of around 100,000, the Shuar continue to uphold many of their ancient customs, preserving their distinct language and a profound sense of cultural pride that sets them apart. However, one of their most infamous practices, the creation of Tsantsas, the renowned shrunken heads, has long since been abandoned. The Tsantsas ritual was a peculiar and gruesome practice, deeply interwoven with their spiritual beliefs and concepts of warfare. When an adversary was killed, particularly a formidable foe, the act of simply taking a life was not enough. To truly conquer and neutralize the enemy, a meticulous process of head reduction was undertaken. The procedure began with the careful removal of the scalp and facial skin, including the nose, eyelids, and ears from the skull. The skull itself was discarded. Only the skin was used. At that precise moment, the wearer must snatch the coin from the unsuspecting widow and immediately place it within the scrotum area of the necropants, where the deceased's organs once resided. Alongside the stolen coin, a thick piece of paper bearing a magical symbol, often a runic staff or other esoteric drawing, is inserted, or sometimes the symbol is tattooed directly onto the skin of the trousers. Following this, a series of prayers and sacrifices must be performed, cementing the pact with dark forces. In exchange for these heinous acts, the wearer is promised an unending flow of money and financial good fortune. However, the price for this material wealth is truly terrifying, raising profound doubts about whether such items were ever genuinely used. The fundamental and horrifying condition is that the necropants can never, under any circumstances, be removed. To take them off, even for a moment, would condemn the wearer's soul to eternal damnation in hell, regardless of their other actions in life. This unbreakable bond to the garment creates an impossible dilemma. When a person wearing the nabrok falls ill and approaches death, they are faced with a desperate scramble to find a successor. There is no possibility of returning the necropants to their original owner. They must be passed on. The dying individual must convince another person to accept the ghastly burden, and the recipient must immediately don the trousers before the previous wearer draws their last breath. Only then can the original wearer's soul find peace. Failure to do so means their spirit will be trapped in torment forever. Given the extreme conditions, the gruesome acquisition, the perpetual stench, the constant discomfort, and the eternal spiritual damnation for removal, it is widely believed that the nabrok is primarily a myth, a dark legend preserved in ancient Icelandic sagas and folklore. Skeptics suggest that any existing examples in museums are likely replicas or symbolic representations, rather than actual garments of human skin worn for their magical properties. The immediate and inevitable risk of a horrific infection from wearing untreated human flesh would almost certainly lead to the swift and agonizing death of the wearer within days, long before any supposed financial prosperity could materialize. Yet, the persistent existence of these artifacts in museums, even if replicas, testifies to the enduring power of this chilling legend, a potent symbol of humanity's desperate yearning for wealth, even at the most unimaginable and morally repugnant cost. The Nabrok stands as a stark reminder of the darkest corners of Apotropaic belief, where the pursuit of power and fortune pushes the very boundaries of human morality and sanity. From the seemingly benign desire for good luck to the most gruesome and ethically abhorrent rituals, the tapestry of Apotropaic beliefs is vast, varied, and deeply unsettling. Whether it is the cherished Look Tep doll believed to house an innocent spirit, the potent and often dark anting-anting of the Philippines, the revered and later exploited toy Moko, the fearsome Tsantsas of the Shuar, or the horrifying legend of the Necropants, each practice reveals a fundamental human struggle. It is a struggle against the unknown, a desperate attempt to gain agency in a world often perceived as chaotic and indifferent. These objects and rituals, born from ancient fears and profound hopes, serve as a stark mirror reflecting humanity's complex relationship with the spiritual, the supernatural, and the ever-present yearning for protection from the unseen forces that shape our destinies. In every culture, in every era, the echoes of the unseen continue to call, and humanity, in its infinite diversity, continues to answer, crafting its own unique and often terrifying safeguards against the darkness.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe to the channel, leave your comment, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any future episodes. Your support helps us keep creating more content like this. See you in the next episode.